Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Swampfox Liberty. Now this is actually my most recent pistol optic purchase. I just about hit the 400 round mark with it, so definitely not a crazy high round count by any means, but it's enough to where I feel like I can at least have a somewhat educated opinion on it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about features, but there are a couple things I do want to highlight. Number one is going to be the fact that the optic does have manual adjustment for brightness, which I actually prefer. I'm not a huge fan of the auto adjust. It does come with an advertised battery life of 4,000 hours. Obviously, I haven't had the optic long enough to be able to verify that or not, but considering it does have the shake-awake technology that we have in other optics, don't really foresee that being an issue, but again, only time's going to be able to tell with that one. So I went ahead and opted for the Liberty because I actually wanted the smaller size profile. If you want something that's a little bit bigger, maybe opt for the big brother of this optic, which is called the Justice. The Liberty comes in at 1x22 millimeters. The Justice is going to come in at 1x27. So if you want the slightly larger window, that might be your better bet. But me personally, I knew this was going to be going on my Staccato C2, which has a slimmer slide as it is. And I was going to be putting on the Ironside's shield as well. So given the extra width from the shield and it's going on a slimmer slide as it is, just felt like the more streamlined option with the smaller optic would be better. So speaking of the shield is basically going to act as a sacrificial shroud, serves as an additional layer of protection for the optic in case it takes an impact from, let's say, a drop or a fall. God forbid you're rolling on the ground with somebody. Basically just another layer of protection for the optic body as well as the lens. So the main thing I do like about this optic has got to be the clarity of the glass, just the clarity of the lens and the dot itself. Just a lot sharper than the optics that I do currently own. And to demonstrate that, let's go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison. So on my left is the Romeo 1 Pro, and on my right is the Swampfox. And again on my left we have the Holosun 507C, and on my right we have the Swampfox. So it is a little bit hard to pick up on camera, but if you were to look at these two optics, or these three optics, side by side, you would be able to tell that the glass on the Swampfox is definitely cleaner than on the Holosun and the SIG Romeo 1 Pro. I don't currently own a Trichicon RMR at the moment, but I have owned RMRs in the past, and I have to say I think I prefer the glass on the Swampfox over the Trichicon. Also while shooting, I didn't notice any kind of flickering or any kind of problems with delays or lags while doing target transitions. Didn't notice any problems with maintaining zero. Overall, the optic's performing as expected and has not given me any grief so far. So now let's talk about what I don't like. The adjustment for windage and elevation are not as tactile as I would have liked. Typically, I like there to be more of a positive click when doing those kind of adjustments. Not the biggest deal in the world. Not like it makes the optic hard to zero or anything like that, but it's just a personal preference and it's kind of a nitpick, but it is a problem that I do have personally. I'm also not a fan of the giant Swampfox logo stamped across the shield. I would have preferred they just left that black or put the logo on it, but again, super nitpicky and it doesn't affect the performance at all, obviously, just personal preference. So now let's address the big elephant in the room, durability. I'm aware this optic is not as durable as some of the other optics on the market. I'm not going to do a durability test or anything like that because it's already been done. There's tons of videos out there already, but I know this optic is not as durable as, let's say, a Holosun 508 or a Trijicon RMR or a Aimpoint Acro, something like that. But just because those optics hold the edge in terms of durability, which they definitely do, doesn't by default make this optic fragile or delicate, or it can't take any kind of abuse at all. It just means that there's other optics out there, like the ones that I mentioned, that are going to hold up better over long-term repeated impacts and drop testing and abuse than this one will. And I knew all of that when I bought this optic, but that kind of begs a question, okay, why did you buy it then? And well, I figured this thing shares the same footprint as the RMR, as the Holosun 507 and the 508, so should this thing decide to die on me or it breaks, I can go ahead and replace it with one of those, no big deal. And plus, I also just like to test products, see what's out there, see how it performs. That way I can have experience to fall back onto if I want to go ahead and endorse or recommend or not recommend a product in the future. Also, another point that I wanted to make is that this optic is for concealed carry. It's not going on a duty pistol for military or law enforcement use. So for the dot and glass clarity that you do get with this, I was willing to sacrifice a little bit of durability for that. It really is one of the cleanest lenses I've ever seen. It's almost like you're not even looking through an optic. It's almost like there's just a dot magically floating there, and for me that helps you stay target focused, which is ultimately my goal. But that is just me, that's my perspective. You obviously have to make the decision for yourself what you're going to prioritize, what are your non-negotiables when it comes to an optic. If it's an absolute must that you have to have the most rugged and durable optic on the market, maybe this isn't for you. There's plenty of other optics out there that fit that bill, just like the ones that I've already mentioned. So overall, guys, the Liberty has definitely met, maybe even exceeded my expectations. Obviously going to keep testing and training with it to continue to evaluate. If I run into any issues or if I have any malfunctions or failures, I'll obviously let you guys know. Hope that's not the case, but again, that's why it's important to go out there and actually pressure test your gear. So those are my thoughts on the Swampfox Liberty, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and see you next time.